The thumbs up from her.
Where we are. Okay, so I'm here again with Claire, and so we've done our chat about supporting your year six child from a parent's perspective as they move on to secondary school. And we're here now today to talk about how year six teachers can help and support their year sixes as they transition to year seven.
That's lovely. Thanks, Trish. Yes, I thought it'd be useful if you gave your 5 areas of assistance. So literally the helping hand to help those children in your year 6 class move across to year 7 with all the tools they need. So just a whistle-stop tour of those top 5. And I wondered if I name them, Trish, and then we come back to them. Is that okay?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah. So we'll look at emotional support, organizational and logistical support, friendships, strengths and self-esteem, and then making a good goodbye. So from a teaching point of view, can you get the ball rolling on emotional support?
Absolutely. So having been a year 6 teacher for years, I understand how highly emotionally charged this part of the year can be. Sort of everyone says, oh, those year 6s, they're ready to leave, look at them parading around the school like they own it. But those of us who are year 6 teachers know and understand what's really going on underneath. So it's about being aware of that, but their huge excitement and potentially fear and worry as well is going to manifest itself in a range of different ways. So you'll get some children might become a bit withdrawn or quiet because they're not sure what to expect. You'll get those that are overconfident, and then you will probably get a lot of silly behaviour. And I always backed my year 6s when people were moaning about them and saying, oh, look at year 6, and say, but you've got to understand what they're going through. But it's how to support them. So it's having something like a worry wall where they can whack a post-it note up there, and then you can talk about that worry wall every day, or maybe don't call it a worry wall, so question wall, something like that. Or then a box, which is an anonymous question box, where if they've got anything, they can just post it in during the day, and then the next day in the morning, you make that time to talk to them. And the more you do it, the more questions you will get, and they don't have to be the one to put their hand up and ask it. It's either on the wall or it's in the box and you have a conversation about it.
Yeah. It's so useful to have something that's just accessible with no questions asked. Absolutely. And I've had children come up to me before and say to me, I've put something in the box. And
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have a look. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just acknowledging that they will have those different emotions going on. So to give them an outlet for them, if you like, and somewhere to put that worry or that concern.
And they probably won't be the only person thinking that either. Exactly. You know, one person will ask it, but several people might be interested in the answer. Yeah, that's lovely. Exactly. So organizational, that logistical support, how do you sort of frame that for them?
So obviously, as they move into year 7, they're going to have to be a lot more independent, and routines are going to be very important. And I actually had a conversation with a year 7 teacher through my TikTok, who said, yes, please share this with year 6 teachers. These are the things that will help us to help them as they come into year 7. So it's a really simple one. It's getting changed really quickly because they have a PE and they have to get changed really fast. And so making sure that they know the expectation that you just get changed really, really quickly and get ready for the next lesson. Homework diaries. So normally at this time of year, reading books or homework diaries in year 6 have fallen well by the wayside and nobody cares. But it is literally pick them up for the last 3 weeks and get them writing in them, get the parents signing them and bringing them in, because that's going to hit them like a brick in September and it's become stressful for them. So a really simple thing you can do is set that up for the last couple of weeks of term with messages and things, so parents know what's going on at school. So that's a very simple idea. You could have something like a mock secondary school day where you have the timetable and then perhaps have a cafeteria lunch for them and put in some lessons like science, and they have to go to a different place for it. So almost make up a pretend secondary school day and they're moving around the school. Quite a nice thing to do in the last few weeks of term. And then the big message from the year 7 teacher was, please encourage them to ask questions. I mean, we could perhaps suggest some ideas to them about the boxes and things, but she said they sit there and they never ask for any help. And we are there to help them. So please tell them your year 7 teacher is not some big ogre that you've got to be frightened of. We are there to help them just as you are.
Yeah. That's really good advice, actually, isn't it? And it's nice to know from a year 7 point of view, this would help us. It's a simple thing, but this would really help us.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it would avoid a bit of heartache, I would think, as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, they're sitting there. So say to them, your teachers want you to ask them questions. So,
yeah. If you don't understand, ask.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Absolutely. So then there's the thorny issue of friendships, Trish, which is, it can be really huge for children.
I think it is huge. It's often the number one worry, isn't it? It's probably on your your fortune teller somewhere about making new friends.
There's one about what about friends? Yeah.
Yes. And you've probably, so year 6 teachers have probably noticed already, and I know we've both noticed, friendships that have been very close for years shift once they find out what secondary school they're going to, and they begin to think, oh, I need to just be friends with the people I'll go to secondary school with. But it's about finding ways to talk to them about that and value those friendships. I think you say, what was it? Schools may change, but friendship.
Yeah, school ends, but friendship doesn't.
That's right.
So look after your friendships and nurture them, because they can last you a lifetime. It doesn't matter if you go to a different school.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And encourage that. Now, this is a harder thing to do, but it's going back to almost teaching them how to make new friends, how to resolve fallout, how to navigate a new group dynamics, because there's going to be new children coming in from different schools. Easier said than done, but it's through spending time on it, role playing certain scenarios. How would I deal with that? Little coaching circles where the children sort of coach each other through made up scenarios that might well happen to them at secondary school. And just working with them to try and build their flexibility as a friend and develop that self-confidence so they can go and make those new friends. But I do think it needs to be very explicit sort of teaching of how to make new friends.
Is it worth asking people who might have older siblings at the schools, how it went for them? Because there might be some knowledge that they don't realize they're walking around with.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good idea. And that feeling of what was hard, but then how great it is to make some new friends.
Yeah.
You don't just have to hang on
and how
to the
quickly
old
it
ones.
becomes normal.
Quickly,
That's the other thing. I used to often say, look, it's your first day and you've got all this going on. Everyone in your year group, it's all your first day.
Yes.
It's everybody's first day. Nobody has nailed it already.
No,
everybody's in the same boat.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. And then the personal strengths and self-esteem, those things that you can be reminded that you carry with you and that will go with you to secondary school. Can we sort of dig that up a little bit?
Yeah, and absolutely, because it's that, although it's a new start, you're not starting again. There's this little plant, this little seed that began in reception, if you like, and you've grown, and now you're a seedling, a good strong seedling as you move on to continue to grow through secondary school. And it's important for them to remember what they have learned and what they're going to take with them. So we talk sometimes about an emotional rucksack, what's you going to put in your bag. But quite a nice activity that I do is we take the school logo. I just photocopy it on black and white paper, and then they write all the things they've learned around the shape of the logo and all the strengths that they've got, the skills they've developed. And our logo, as most logos, I think, is here, which is kind of over your heart. So they take their little logo with them, and they remember that they're taking all those things from their primary school with them as they continue to grow and develop as they hit secondary school.
I love that. You said something like it's a new start, but it's not. But you're not starting over.
They're not. No.
I like that. It is both of those things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Some of the stuff and the person you are will come with you. All the best part of you will come with you.
Yes.
And for some children, actually, the opportunity to change who they are a little bit, to make a new start is quite a refreshing thing for them.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. So you've become this person, and now it's this new beginning again, this great opportunity to like you say, be a little bit different if that's what they want.
Sort of restart your story.
Yes.
Yeah, nice. So then the last one, but by no means least, is that idea of making a good goodbye. And really, the year 6 teacher can have a huge impact on how secure the children feel moving on, and saying that goodbye to primary school, which is for many of them the only school they'll have known. So it's huge. So
It's
how do we
huge.
do that? How do we ensure that they're given that kind of opportunity to say goodbye positively?
Well, it's I understand it from a year 6 teacher's perspective, that it's hot, number one, very hot at this time of year, particularly at the moment. You're tired, you've got so much on. And I know that year 6 teachers are pushing. And I used to say, I'm still winding up while everyone else is winding down with all the year 6 stuff. But it is just to say to you, please do it. It's so, so important. So maybe your school always has a leavers party or a disco or something, or a leavers. I think your school had a day at the pool, didn't they?
So the parents organise it. Yes. Yeah.
And allow those things to happen and get involved in doing those things, because the year that we didn't do them because of lockdown and COVID, we did what we could. There's a lot of things we couldn't do. Children still come back and say, we never had the party. I'd love to bring them back and have the party. But these things are really important. Leavers, assemblies, little ceremonies. We have liturgies and things as a Catholic school, but you can have things like a gratitude tree and have a little mini assembly. And I'd like to say thank you for. So something that marks the leaving behind of their primary school in a personal way, maybe a spiritual way, and in a social way. So important. And I know it's the hardest term to do it, but it's so important, and those children will remember it forever.
I do remember as a year 6 teacher, after lockdown, I think they had arranged, because they were in one big bubble by then, they could have something on their own, but they couldn't go anywhere public. So they were meeting for a picnic in the countryside, and they asked me, would I mind writing a certificate for every child, something to do with a quality that each one of them had. And I must admit, at the time, I was absolutely on my knees. I'm writing 30 imaginative certificates. Didn't seem like something I would have chosen to do right then. But actually, I really remember them because I did person most likely to become. So with this person's integrity and goodwill, most likely to become a diplomat or a secret agent or a stuntman or a cricketing legend. And we had some very good sportswomen on our teams, on our school teams, and they loved all that. They just loved it. Even the ones who were just like, oh no, I don't think I want to be involved in this. And I was like, oh no, most likely to become an army commando. And he was like, oh no, I'll take that. And he took this, and he was more than happy to take it. And actually it didn't take me that long, and it gave them such a lot of pleasure, and it kind of wrapped up that final thing with a sort of, here's something to go forward with. Not just looking behind, but looking ahead.
And I think it's that year 6 teacher is probably the hardest, one of the hardest roles in as a teacher, but one of the best ones as well, because of those relationships you build with those children, and how, like you just said, what an impact you can have, and how important these things you do with them. So for that, those year 6 teachers out there, like you say, that you're on your knees, just keep going, just one last push, you've got this. You can do it for these kids. So so that was our 5.
I love that, the helping hand. And people can come back to you, presumably directly message you if they would like to know a little bit more or think of more ideas. Yeah,
absolutely, or any ideas or resources and things. So, but lovely.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.